Welcome to From a Woman to a Leader, a podcast dedicated to discussing the challenges and providing tips for women in tech leadership. Hi, I'm your host, Limor Bergman-Gross, and in each episode, we'll hear from other successful women in tech, sharing their stories, insights, and advice. Join us as we empower each other to reach our full potential in the tech industry. Hi everyone, Limor is here, and welcome to Season 2 of From a Woman to a Leader podcast. So this is actually a solo episode prior to the first one I'm going to publish next week. And the reason I wanted to record it, I usually don't do solo episodes, but I wanted to kind of explain how Season 2 is different and what inspired me to create Season 2. So as some of you know, I'm an executive coach for women in tech leadership, and I work with women in a variety of leadership roles. In a bracket, I would say I also work with men, but my passion is supporting women, and my mission is to get more and more women get to executive roles in tech. And I see that women of color face even more challenges than white women. So as a white woman, myself, always working surrounded by men, I had my share of challenges. There were some biases, against me. Sometimes it was hard for me to push myself forward. Sometimes I was mistreated. I was asked to do things that maybe other men would not be asked to, like taking notes in meetings. So there are a bunch of challenges in my career, which I'm always talking very freely about. And I interviewed in Season 1 different women, incredible women. So I recommend you to listen to Season 1 if you haven't already. But I have clients who are women of color, and I noticed that they have even more challenges. And actually, I've seen it also in the workplace when I was director of engineering, and I was very active in the Women ERG, and I heard the stories of women of color and what they experienced, what was much worse than my experience. And I have clients that inspired me. I have a specific client. She's a Black woman, and I won't reveal who she is, but hopefully she knows who she is because I told her about it. She inspired me to dedicate a full season for women of color because this woman is incredibly smart, incredibly motivated and passionate about what she does, and very good at what she does. But you really have to work super, super, super hard in order to break biases of people around her, including leadership. And that inspired me because I want to see more women succeed. And she is doing great and she's succeeding and working her way up. But it shouldn't be so hard. And I'm going to interview in Season 2 women of color. So first of all, what does it even mean, women of color? This term sometimes can be interpreted to many directions. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to interview women that are either Black, Indian, Asian, basically not white, women that are not white, because I want to bring those women and their stories, their unique challenges that they face. Some of them migrated to a different country. Like myself, I moved to the US. I used to live in the US and I'm Israeli. So I want to bring the voice of women that are not just of color, but they're coming from different cultural backgrounds and highlighting those. And the reason for that is I want to inspire other women who may face similar challenges and help them. I want those women to know you are not alone. You are not the only one facing those challenges. And I also want to inspire companies to start thinking about it more seriously because this is a real problem. And don't believe me because I'm just one person. I want to share something with you. I don't know how many of you read the excellent Women at the Workplace report that goes out every year by McKinsey and LeanIn organization. And for those of you who are watching the video version of this podcast, the video is on YouTube. I am sharing my screen right now, and I'm showing you the Women in the Workplace 2023 report, a digested report, because this report is talking every year since 2015. They started doing it. McKinsey and LeanIn org started creating this very extensive research and report since 2015, and every year they publish a new one that is updated, basically. And it's highlighting a problem that I already knew about, but there are now numbers, right? There are numbers now behind what I'm just seeing. So we all know that we have less representation of women in leadership roles. So if I look at the latest statistics from McKinsey report, you can see that in entry level, we have about 30% white women, out of them 18% women of color and 29% white women. The interesting thing is as you move up to manager, to senior manager or director, to VP, senior VP, C-suite, you see less and less and less women, right? We know that. So if I compare 29% white women at entry level compared to 22% white women at a C-suite. If you look at women of color, though, the situation is much worse. So I take the 18% representation of women of color in entry-level positions to 6% in C-suite. So the drop is much more significant for women of color compared to white women. And I think this is very important. I encourage everyone that cares about women in the workplace, that cares about changing that, to go and download that report and read it. So this is just one fact. This report also said that women of color are actually more ambitious than white women. They're very ambitious. They want to advance their careers. So we need to give them a chance. And if I want to search just the term women of color in that report and highlight the main things to you. So as I said, women of color representation in C-suite drops quite significantly. And I say here that women represent roughly 1 in 4 C-suite leaders, and women of color just 1 in 16. So 1/4 of white women are women of color. So we think the situation is bad. For women of color, it's much worse. It's important to be aware of that. White women are ambitious, but women of color are even more ambitious than white women, as I said before. And this is another interesting fact. It's not because they don't want to, they do. And there is a term called the broken rung, and I actually have an episode about it on my first season. Actually, it was the first episode I did. And the broken rung is basically talking about the fact that women are being stuck in middle management, are not able to be promoted to executive roles and to C-suite. According to Women in the Workplace report, it's showing the problem of the broken rung is getting worse for women of color. It's not getting better. It's getting even worse. So if we look at every 100 men promoted from entry level to manager, compared to 100 men, 87 women are promoted. And for women of color, it's even worse. For every 100 women, 73 women of color are promoted to manager. And there is a graph here showing also kind of the dissection to, as I said, women of color is a term, but actually there are different kinds of women of color. And it shows that the situation for Black women is the worst. I just wanted to highlight those things because I'm coming from, and I'm stop sharing now. I'm coming from tech background. I used to be an engineer. I used to be an engineering leader. So I know the importance of data. And that's why I wanted to show you this report. So I'm not talking just based on feelings and based on observations and what I hear from my coaching clients, but I also talk based on research. And this is the most extensive research I'm aware of for women in the workplace. So as I said, I highly recommend you to read it. And this is why I'm doing season 2. I want to find those women of color that have excelled, those 6 or 7% that grew to executive roles or C-suite, and highlight them. I want to talk to them. I want to hear their stories, not just for me, but for all of you. Hear their stories, hear what they were going through. And also, I want them to share their experiences, what worked for them, and inspire the next generation of women leaders, especially women of color. And I'll be completely honest with you. Finding Black women to talk in this podcast is damn hard. Excuse my language, but it is hard. So if you are a Black woman and you hear that, or if you have a friend that is a Black woman, that is a great leader, please reach out to me. I want to talk to you. It's hard. And no wonders it's hard, because only 6 or 7% of Black women get to the top. And we need to change that. We need to change those numbers. We need to bring them to 50% representation. There is no reason why we'll see so few women of color at the top. We want to see more. And that's what I'm going to talk about in this season. I don't know yet how many episodes I'll do. The first season was 30 episodes. This one, I'm not sure. It really depends on how many women I can find that are willing to share their stories. I already have like 6 or 7 to this date that are lined up to speak. So hopefully I'll find more. And again, a call out for all of you. If you know women of color that are trailblazers, that are successful, that reach to the top, please refer them to me. I want to highlight them. I want to talk to them. And this episode is going to be live on the day before Thanksgiving. So to all my US friends, I want to wish happy Thanksgiving to all of you. And to all of the women out there, I'm here for you. I want to see, my vision and my mission is to help you all get to the top. And the little contribution I want to make on this planet is to help more women excel. We need you. We need to hear your voice. Your voice matters. We need to see you at the top. Thank you so much for listening to me today. And at all times, feel free to reach out to me and share with me your thoughts. Share with me what you think about my podcast. Share with me what topics do you want me to talk about. Share with me what guests you want me to bring. Thank you all and happy Thanksgiving. Thank you for listening to another episode of From a Woman to a Leader. This is your host, Limor Bergman-Gross, and I want to encourage you to reach out to me on LinkedIn, Limor Bergman, and let me know, what do you think about the episodes? Feel free also to comment on Apple Podcasts and tell me, what do you want me to talk about? Which guests do you want me to bring? I really appreciate that, and have a wonderful day.